Does armed conflict law regulate cyber warfare? In today's digital age, the question of whether armed conflict law applies to cyber warfare is more pressing than ever. As nations increasingly relying on technology, cyber operations are becoming a key component of modern conflicts. Just yesterday, a major cyber attack targeted critical infrastructure in a country, raising alarms about the implications for international law. So, what does this mean for the application of international humanitarian law? International humanitarian law, which includes the Geneva Conventions and the laws of armed conflict, was originally crafted to address traditional warfare. These laws were designed to regulate conflicts involving physical violence between states or parties. However, as cyber warfare evolves, the question arises, do these laws apply to cyber operations? The answer is yes, but with important caveats. Armed conflict law applies to cyber warfare when cyber attacks cause harm comparable to traditional attacks. This includes instances where cyber operations result in death, injury, or significant destruction. Key principles of international humanitarian law remain relevant in this context. The principle of distinction requires combatants to differentiate between military targets and civilians. The principle of proportionality aims to limit civilian harm in attacks. Lastly, the principle of necessity mandates that military advantage must justify any attack. Despite these guiding principles, cyber warfare introduces unique challenges. The intangible nature of cyber attacks complicates legal assessments. For example, a cyber operation that disrupts a civilian hospital's systems can lead to severe humanitarian consequences. This raises critical questions about compliance with international humanitarian law protections for civilians. International legal experts and states are actively discussing how existing laws apply to cyber warfare. The United Nations has acknowledged that the principles of international humanitarian law extend to cyberspace. However, further clarification is needed to address the complexities of emerging technologies and tactics. In summary, the laws of armed conflict do regulate cyber warfare when operations reach the threshold of armed conflict. The fundamental protections for civilians and restrictions on means and methods of warfare continue to guide conduct in this evolving arena. As technology advances, the legal framework must adapt to ensure humanitarian protections remain as effective in the digital battlefield.